Welcome to the Thriving Solopreneur Show, where you learn the stories and systems that have turned hardworking, self-employed business owners like yourself into highly successful, leisurely entrepreneurs. This show is dedicated to those who went into business for themselves because they had an idea or suggestion that ignited their passions to do more, to do it better, and to solve a problem in our community. Whether your business started in a basement, a garage, or at a kitchen table, this episode will bring to you a system, a tip, or an entrepreneur that has been where you are and can guide you to living the fulfilling life you desire for yourself. Here's your host and serial solopreneur, Janine Bolon.
Welcome to this episode. This is Janine Bolon with the Thriving Solopreneur, and today I have with me Trevor Mickelson. What a wonderful guest. I've worked with Trevor for several years now, and he and I have been working together, usually in the financial world. And what's cool is that Trevor has spent his career in the arena of risk mitigation and financial education. Don't worry. Don't panic with the big words. We're going to be helping you understand what it means to go through risk mitigation. But basically, these are topics that you're never taught in school, much less in college, unless you specifically go into business management of some kind. And good luck with the MBA ever really talking about risk management when it comes to your own personal finances. They'll talk to it in a business mindset, but not personal. And what's great about Trevor is that he and I both agree our parents didn't teach us this stuff. We had to learn it. So we're here to help you with that. And Trevor also has a passion for breaking down those complex financial information as well as all the principles into simple concepts so others have, that wonderful life-changing aha moment that comes over and over again when you start moving down your financial path. The coolest thing is that Trevor is a senior vice president for Five Rings Financial, and he is the founder of the president of Tortoise and Hare Financial Affairs. Now, we all love that metaphor in the financial community. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Anyhow, he also is the creator of the Embrace Your Prosperity Mastermind Group, and his mission is to help every organization, employees, and their clients realize the daily opportunities to turn debt into wealth, protect their livelihood, and safeguard their future and business for generations to come. But most importantly, it's just to bring value to the world that you live in and basically align it with what you love to do and share your unique song with the world. So thank you so much, Trevor, for being with us today. It's great to hear from you.
Thank you very much, Janine, for having me today. It's an honor. I always love connecting with you and your network. So thank you very much for allowing me and inviting me to this opportunity to chat with you today.
You bet. What I want to let people know is that the very first time that I met Trevor, I was introduced to him as he wanted to help 30 or 50,000 women. I always forget how it was such a huge number. You wanted to help 50,000 women with their finances. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, this is a man who has stepped up to help women learn how to handle finances. He's basically our champion, but he'll help the guys too. And so I just wanted to say thank you for being that. So, if you don't mind, kind of give us a little bit of a synopsis of what on earth put you into or drove you into or inspired you into the financial industry to begin with?
I'd love to say it was a nice rainbow, sunshine, unicorn, butterfly story, but actually it was the exact opposite of that. I just had this college life crisis, decided not to be a doctor, was going actually into the nursing field. And then my wife got diagnosed with a neuromuscular degenerative autoimmune disease and also got a disc ruptured in her lower back within a very short amount of time. And if anybody's ever gone through something life-changing like that, it dismantles everything you know about finances, your world as you know it, and just has so much trauma in it. It's the number one cause of bankruptcies, foreclosures, small business failures, marriages, money issues. And that's exactly what happened to us. We lost everything. Our marriage almost crumbled. We almost had a divorce every single night and weekends. And it was literally hell for us. And it was really about a 10-year process. And now, just to let everybody know, my wife is doing great. She's really in the high 90% of functionality. I would say she's the most high functioning person in the world with her diagnosis due to health and wellness and mindset, meditation and whatnot, and the way that we approach life. And And so I want to just let people know that there's always options on that front outside of the traditional stuff. And for us, that was realizing that there's a different path than what is presented, or rather not presented, in high school or college from our parents and whatnot. Because my mom was an accountant. My father-in-law is a CPA, owned his own practice. And yet my wife and I literally knew nothing about money except go get a good job after getting a great education, get in a bunch of debt, and then somehow you're going to figure it out. I mean, I know money is like this close to the importance of oxygen, but we're not going to teach you anything about it. And that's literally how they control the monopoly board of the world, is let's take away that one piece of financial education that's so important. Let's teach you that one critical foundational element of adulting, and let's eliminate that. So when we went through this literally awakening of how we've been lied to of finances, I started to dive in and treat finances like I would any college education course. I was a professional tutor in college and high school and whatnot through most of my life, and always tutored very advanced biology, chemistry, physics, statistics, math. And I looked at money as a course, and I started studying it. Basically, I leveraged what I had learned, which is learn it, then teach it, master it, and turn knowledge into wisdom. So I sought mentors. I sought people that I could teach this information so that I could really embed it into my habits. And very, very quickly, I realized that there was such a huge need for financial education and financial literacy. Financial literacy just does not exist anywhere in most schools. And so whenever I was thinking about this, it was like, wow, there's a really, really great opportunity in there. And in between the medical shift of the doctor to the nurse, it was during the Great Recession of 2008 and 9, and there were no jobs anywhere. And the only place hiring was in the financial industry. So I kind of got in the financial industry by happenstance of just, this is the only job that existed. Hey, Trevor, come in. You can work as hard as you want for 100% commission. And if you win, you win. But if you fail, you burn out miserably. And so I happened to succeed because I learned it and I approached it as an education process and a tutoring process versus a selling process. So I was able to, in a very short amount of time, outsell, I guess you could say, or outperform people who had been there for 5 or 10 or 15 years plus. I was that guy that always went on the trips and the cruises and the resorts, 5 stars, all expense paid trips and whatnot. But then when my wife had those instances of the disability and whatnot, even though I was learning about all of this beforehand, about how kind of money works, it was more on the growth, not so much on the protection, the longevity, legacy wealth, if you will. It was never about creating wealth. It was always about creating a big pile of money for retirement. And it was the idea of true wealth never came across our vision. So when all that happened, it completely opened me up and us up to the idea of how to go from about $100,000 in debt, take those habits, which there are habits and it's generational that I was taught from my parents, and to leverage that and shift that mindset to wealth creation strategies. And so for the last 10 years now, I've been teaching financial education across the country. And about 6 years ago now, I was picked up by a company. They wooed me because they said, hey, Trevor, and this was 10 years ago. They found me right at the beginning and said, hey, you're teaching financial education. We're teaching financial education. And I'm like, no, I want to do my own thing. I don't want to sell financial services or products. I want to teach. I'm a teacher. I'm a tutor. That's what I love. I love helping people. And they go, well, we do that too. And I'm like, yeah. So 3.5 years later.
Heard this all before.
Exactly. It's like palm trees and oases don't exist. But after 3.5 years of looking at Five Rings Financial, I realized that, oh my gosh, they're doing it the way that I would, except more expansive. Because what I realized after 3.5 years is that my clients wanted to work with me. They did, after finding thousands of dollars a month, literally, for families, saving their marriage, their homes, their kids' college education and whatnot, with this mindset, showing them how to reduce their taxes by 25 to 50%, how to save hundreds or thousands of dollars each month that could be funneled under their bed for all I cared at that point. But what I realized is people wanted to work with me. They didn't want to get passed off to a traditional financial professional that would put them in a state of fear. And that was my whole process, is getting them in this place of embracing prosperity, which is this unconditional acceptance of, I'm going to be all right, because I came into this world fully funded. And once I realized that, wow, Trevor, I don't want to go anywhere else. So I ended up aligning with Five Rings Financial, and with a very short amount of time, I expanded into a national-based business and one of the fastest growing divisions in the company. And it's just been completely amazing. And for the last, 5 years, 4 or 5 years now, I've been working virtually. So I'm helping everybody all over the country. And so, long story short, we went through hell. That's how I got into this position. And so now my mission is to help people realize those lessons at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. Because when you hit the bottom and it breaks through, and then you hit the rock bottom and it breaks through, and you hit rock bottom again, and it's solid, that's a really great place to build foundational and move from there. So that's where I teach from, is from literally rock bottom. So no one can tell me, oh, Trevor, I'm going through this or I'm going through that. It's like, yeah, I understand. Oh, but Trevor, what? I truly understand. But Trevor, I truly understand. And so it's a different. It's not that I won't work with millionaires or billionaires. There's 99% of the population that will never get this kind of information. So it's basically that's the clientele that I work with, is people who don't have $5 million in assets and aren't going to meet that threshold. But maybe they got a few $100,000. Maybe they do have $1 million, or maybe they're scratching pennies together. It really, for us, that's our focus, is helping middle income Americans. So that's how I got into the industry. And I live a life on fire because I always get to help people. And they're all the people who desire help are really, really motivated. And so it's like taking a C or D student to an A student. It just feels good to do that.
It really does.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that part. And I ran into the same thing when I was doing work with my financial situation. And I want to bring it around to business owners. But a lot of times, in order to talk to business owners about how we can help them with their money, we really have to talk to them about their personal mindsets regarding money before we can say, okay, this is how we can help you with your business. So first, it's like, get your personal house in order first. And the other thing is don't go into debt for your business. And a lot of people will go into debt for their business. And that's not what we were talking about as far as true wealth. You and I have had many, many discussions about, look, what we are doing is trying to make enough money so that we can do all the things we want to do and still keep creating. And if you're not able to still keep creating and you're not living life your way, something is seriously wrong with your mindset. And Trevor can definitely help you with that. So let's bring it around to what is wealth, because this is like saying, what is time? Wealth means different things to different people, right? And for me, wealth means the financial freedom to do what I want, but what I want to do really doesn't cost a lot. And that was the turnaround for me. What I wanted as far as my successful life was so simple and so easy to access. It shocked me. It really took me 3 years just to figure out, oh my gosh, I'm there. I'm there, right? And so that's what you do for your clients, is you help them realize, look, you're not as far down in the gutter as you think you are. Yes, it seems horrible, it seems big, but let's help work with you a tablespoon at a time. So give me like top 3 things that you would recommend to business owners to start the process of moving into that wealthy mindset.
Yeah, and that's it. You hit it, Janine. It is completely relative. And the powers that be, social media, whatever it is, the publications of the world really are pushing this. Well, wealth is one way. And if you're not this way, then you're not wealthy. No, right. Nay, I say. No. Because for me, exactly. Because for me, it's, campaign, like I can't even say it. I don't even want to say it. Champagne and caviar is not my idea of wealth. going out in a yacht and cruising, I'm sure would be great. It's not my idea of wealth. It's not. It's having a house in the middle of the woods and being able to spend as much time with my kids and my wife and my friends and myself as long as I want to, without anybody telling me what to do, where to go, how to do it, and having that freedom that in the event that, oh shoot, a medical event pops up, a financial emergency pops up, or a vacation pops up, I am not worried about how I'm going to create an income or focus on generating any money, because I have shifted from a income-based focus to a profit flow from a passive perspective. So for any business owners, the top 3 things that I would recommend for them is stop focusing on income and really start focusing on passive profits. Because, it's a small shift, but that 1 degree can set you to that boiling point. Because where a lot of business owners are investing is they're investing in this SEO, this marketing, this paper ad stuff, and they're spending, yes, in order to get her investment, that's great. But the question is it evergreen? Is it always going to be there? Is it accessible to the right people at the right time, wherever they are? And are you also focusing on making your business virtual? There's a lot of people who work with their hands only. But seriously, people, there are ways, multiple ways, and this is something I teach business owners, is to expand their service options. Because if you are only serving and I know it's going to really trigger some people, in niches there are riches, sure. But if you're not serving your niche the way that they want to the width and depth that they desire from you, then you're not truly serving them. Sure, so you're working with your hands as an example of, acupuncturist or massage therapist. But in the event that, you can't work with your hands, have you thought about what you would do to create passive profits? So online stores, course creation, things like that you can sell any day, anytime, anywhere to anyone, wherever they are that are searching for you. So it's really about focusing on how can you create profits, because there are ways, yes, that you can do it either free, low cost, or with very affordably, that you can have yourself duplicated through automation and systems. And then so you can step away. And this is the biggest part, which is number 2 for business owners, is having the availability as soon as possible to literally walk away from your business and still make the same amount of money. And that leads back to the first, you got to find ways. And this could be something from asking your client every time you connected with them, or sending out a survey, or doing a Facebook post of, hey, what are you really interested in that I could offer you that I'm not currently? Ask. If you're not willing to ask your client, then you're not really serving them to the next level, because if you're not evolving, then you're dying. So if you're not offering new and expanding, literally, if you're not expanding, you're like a plant. If you're not expanding and growing, you're dying. You're on your way. So it is about being able to offer more and then being able to step back. And that comes through automation, systems. It also comes through referral partners. It comes through power partners, finding your soul client that can refer you to other soul clients or soul partners that are going to bring that around. So you have these multiple funnels, if you will, or what I like to call aligned rivers of passive profits that are coming to you. Now that's number 2. Now the third thing, this is going to probably make a lot of financial individuals pissed off, because that's what I do, is I trigger people to get to the core of their initial trauma so that we can really get to that heart of that, their mindset, to see really where they are on or off track. And this is the one that it's like, you know what? Stop saving your money. Stop investing your money. Like, don't invest your income. Don't save your income in like savings or in the stock market, yes, or wherever it might be, bonds. Like, don't invest your income. Invest your profits in a place that you can access it tax-free without any fees from the IRS or any government agencies to give you complete liquidity that's tax favored and still gets growth and still gets protection. And what I used to do is say, okay, business owner, you're going to save with me $500 or $1,000 a month. That's great. But really what that does is it has the potential to decrease their cash flow of $500 to $1,000 per month. So what does that do to their marketing? What does that do to their availability to pay payroll or buy additional resources or whatnot that they can reinvest in their business? So it's thinking more from let's take what we've earned this month, because I don't pay myself first. Oops. Anyway, I'm just going to take all of this 100% of my money and I'm going to put it back into my business. And there's going to be a small portion that I'm going to save for retirement. Well, that's actually a lie. Most business owners don't save for their retirement at all. They focus on selling their business and hope that it's at the peak of the market right as they sell it, so that they can have that champagne and caviar, which that's not actually happening. So it's instead of looking at that few $100s or few $1,000s a month and saving it for retirement, in addition to selling your business, it's focusing on what are your true profits, so that instead of putting it towards a retirement program, it's putting it in a place that you can use it for retirement and leverage it for your business at the same time. And this is where most business owners fail big time. And that's on the finance industry. And this is what I'm looking to reinvent, if you will, because there are so many organizations that offer executive bonus programs and executive compensation programs that if you're a C-suite for Google or IBM or Apple, you not only are you going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars going into your quote unquote retirement program, but you don't have to wait till 59 and a half to use that money. You can access it now tax-free without any penalties or surrender fees, and actually leverage your quote unquote retirement funds for anything that you want. You want to go on a trip, you want to get a business, new location, you want to dive in and expand your business or learn or go to this course or go to an event or buy another location or whatever it might be. Well, if you have a traditional retirement plan, SOL, unless you want to access that money, it's fees and taxes. And the IRS, it's like borrowing money from the mafia, just to be straight up. But most business owners do not know that there are ways to create retirement programs and also to create a large pool of money that you can access tax-free, no penalties, so that you can make business moves that can be leveraged. I love working with real estate investors because of this, because instead of just putting money in a savings account or checking account, just waiting for broken pipes or the market to readjust or that perfect fix and flip home or whatever it might be, you can have it sitting in an account that'll earn substantially more returns that's still safe, because I'm a safe guy. I love sleeping well. I'm just going to say that again. I love sleeping well. And so I share this knowledge and information. What's that?
Excuse me, forgive me for cutting in on you like this, but what is that called, right? We have words for all these things, right? We call them IRAs or SEP IRAs, and then you're saying, don't do that, don't do that. So what is it called that you're talking about? What is that label?
Ooh, all right. So they are either index accounts or tax-free index accounts. And this is something that 93% of the population has no idea that it exists.
Right.
That you can, and it's in the, Janine, when you're looking at the financial teeter-totter of wealth, they're like, well, hey, Janine, you've got the risk side, which is over here, and you've got the safe side, which is over here. They're exact opposite of the spectrum of the teeter-totter, and you better have balance. So get some risk, get some safety, and you'll be good. But in the event that one of those sides fails or has a correction or a crash, you're no longer on a teeter-totter. You've just created a catapult. Wow!
Yeah. Oh, I understand. I understand, which is why when I first learned about index funds and stuff like that, I was just Yeah.
So it's not an index fund.
You said an index account. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit
And
different.
so that's why I said that, because I wanted you to correct me, because there's a lot of layover. There's a lot of crossover in the financial industry. It can get very confusing. That's done on purpose. To lead you down a hairy hole that you can't kind of see your way through. And so what do you do? And so you get somebody like Trevor who can guide you, and his best interest is that you do well, because if you do well, then you're going to be a good referral partner for him. So it's all about, doing the positive thing with that. So thank you for playing along with the game. So you want to set up an index account. So Trevor can go into more detail with you on that. But because of our timing, I wanted to help you move along there to step 3.
Step 3. That is that step 3 is put it into, take your retirement and put it into a place that's not locked up. It's not in a IRS jail. So most people are going into the SEPs or the IRAs or the 401ks so they can, get that growth, but then they're taking all the risks, all the fees. And at the end of when they do retire, chances are it might not be exactly what they thought it was going to be. So it's looking at a place like an index account or a tax-free index account, where not only can you get the gains of the market, but you can avoid all the downside losses. So contractually guaranteed, if the market goes down 1% or 100%, you're not going to lose a dime. You're going to sit out that year and not experience any gains, but you're not going to experience any losses. With that, in that transition to an index account, it has 100% liquidity. So you can have that liquidity that if you needed $20,000 for a new piece of equipment or $50,000 to put on a down payment to get a home or whatever, then you can take and borrow that money, pay yourself back. Or if there's a water heater that blows up, instead of having your money sit in a checking account, not earning anything, it can really get some really awesome gains, and you can borrow from it. You can pay yourself back and use that as a point of leverage instead of just putting it aside forever until you're ready one day, hopefully, because then your money's not flowing. You've eliminated cash flow completely from that segment of your fortune, your wealth. And that's what financial professionals want you to do, is they say, well, hey, just put this money away forever and you'll never be able to access it until you're done. Well, that significantly reduces your point of leverage to growing and expanding your business. And so that's point 3, is put that money in a place that not only is it going to grow, it's for retirement, but you can also access it to leverage it without any taxes or penalties or fees.
Okay, so I'll go through the 3 points as I heard them, because the first one is stop focusing on income and instead focus on passive profits. Number 2 is be able to establish your business so at one point you eventually can walk away from the actual running of it. And then number 3 is really start seriously investigating index accounts so that you can then leverage it. Did I get those 3 right?
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Okay, good. Glad to hear that, because as we get ready to move forward, I also wanted to let the thriving solopreneurs that are out there know this is not to be expected to be done all within the next month. These are systems and projects that we're talking to you about, where there are people out there like Trevor who very much want you to be educated. And if you don't have the $5 million or the $1 million to get access to certified financial planners who can talk to you about all this, what are you supposed to do in the meantime? Right. And you may think that $20,000 or $50,000 is a huge chunk of change. Well, it isn't if you've been really maximizing your profit base. So I highly recommend that you check Trevor out. So Trevor, how can people get a hold of you? Say they're in debt. Okay. They're in debt. They know that I've written this book, Money It's Not Just for Rich People, and it's got the 60-40 principle. And yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but they're wanting a little bit more, right? So they want to come to you and say, hey, Trevor, kind of educate me a little bit more, not only on index accounts, but also what I can do as far as my mindset shift. So where did they go?
Absolutely. The easiest place they can go is tortoiseandharemembership.com. I created a course, and I practice what I preach. I'm literally able to step out of 95% of the conversations, the 100% really of, if I wanted to, of the intro 101 type of conversations, if you will, so that I choose to expand and be able to focus on those higher level conversations. And so I created a course, and it is at no cost. I used to sell this thing for $500. And then last year I got this little, late 2019, I got this ping from the universe saying, hey, you're going to start giving away all your courses. And I was like, no, but it's been the best thing that I've done, because basically the more information I give away at no cost, people can dive in. It's a 10 module course, and it goes over everything that I've been teaching for the last 10 years. How to get out of debt 5 to 50 times faster, how to pay off your mortgage in 5 to 7 years, how to save 25 to 50% on your taxes, how to truly protect your assets, how to truly, because what are you going to do during a medical event? 62% of people go bankrupt after a medical event and the bills that follow. 50% of foreclosures, 48% of small business failures are due to medical events. What are you going to do that isn't going to break your bank every month? And then what are you going to do from a cash flow perspective in order to create that wealth, that true wealth, and dive into mindset? So if they go to tortoiseandhairmembership.com, it's right there. And all of my information is going to be included once you get the follow-up emails. And once you go through the course, you can set up a time to specifically connect with me. Get on my calendar. We can have a follow-up conversation. And that, when you go through those processes, it's going to completely, it's going to go into budgeting like a badass. And I love that part, because it really will shift your mindset about what a budget is. And I'm going to be adding some parts of that real soon here that are going to be even more expansive into that. That's going to be the easiest thing. And of course, you can search my name, Trevor Mickelson, M like money, Mickelson. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Those are the main places that I play. Just connect with me there, and yeah, let's have some fun and conversations. And if you have a company, a corporation that you want to do a live presentation or two, something like that, I might be open to that depending on the time. But that'll be the easiest way to reach out, is tortoiseandhairmembership.com. All my contact information will be there once you opt into the course.
Right. And I highly recommend this course. We've had a lot of fun having conversations regarding money and working around a lot of labels, because some of the things that Trevor and I noticed when we were starting to talk was, I was like, no, I don't budget either. I track my expenses. And he's like, yeah, that's kind of what I mean with budgeting. And so we would have to kind of work around. And that's what I mean by, don't let labels put you off of anything that Trevor might be talking to you about. I highly encourage you to dive deep into the free courses that he has available, but just because there are so many labels. And if you learn what he is talking about and how he's phrasing things, that will help change your mindset. So make sure that you visit the Tortoise and Hair, and that's Hare, like the bunny, membership.com, so that you can get all those free assets. That way you can get your own assets and gear and get yourself into that mindset that's a wealth accumulating mindset. Anything else you want to share with us, Trevor, before we go today?
Wow, I really appreciate, and I'm honored to be able to connect with your network today, Janine, and I'm honored to help anyone, especially those who think that no one can help me. Trust me, back then I thought the only way I would ever get out of this mess is if I made more, I worked harder, I sacrificed more. And I got to tell you, wealth is the exact opposite. Now, from outside, it might look like I'm working hard because I am a producer. I produce a lot. But I got to tell you, instead of being externally driven, I'm internally inspired. And that is a huge shift that is all encompassing in wealth. And if I can do it, like if we can do it, seriously, if I can do it, then we can do it better. And that's what this is all about.
Well, thank you very much for listening to this episode of The Thriving Solopreneur, where we talk about all things related to business, multiple different aspects. And I hope that you found this episode is helpful, as I know many of my listeners have over the course of years, as I have referred them to various financial professionals. And Trevor brings a fresh, new perspective that is necessary as we enter 2021. We're in a whole different economy. We're in a different mindset. We're in a different place than we were before. The old rules of money are not going to apply to the new creation that people are working on today. We have more entrepreneurs and more virtual workers than at any other time in history. And because of that, our mindset and our education in finances has also got to change. And we are grateful to people like Trevor Mickelson who are leading the charge. Have a great day, and don't you dare stop reaching for the stars.
Thank you for listening to the Thriving Solopreneur Show. We hope you found this episode helpful and uplifting. Be sure to visit us at janinebolon.com/podcast, where you'll find a library of videos, books, and podcast programs to guide you to the future you envision for yourself. We also ask that you visit our sponsor, the8gates.com, for the books and online courses that share with you the debt-free living lifestyle that allows business owners like yourself to flourish. Have a great day, and see you next time.